Hello there. Welcome to my show, COVID-19 Update by Heerak. It's November 9th, 2020, and you are hearing Greek music in the background. What do you think? Yeah, I mean, Greece is one of the funnest places to go to during the summer or in the fall even. Jumping from Greek island to Greek island. It's a lot of fun, I I didn't get to do my Greek island jumping tour. I was kind of planning to do that with my friend Olivia from Poland that I met in 2019. And when I went to academic conference at the University of Warsaw for European Association for Biblical Studies, uh, my new Polish friends, you know, Olivia really likes Greece. Um, she's actually like a manager of a Greek store in Warsaw, but oh well, COVID kind of ruined that, I guess. But yeah, I've done the Spanish Riviera thing and the French Riviera thing, and I've spent some time in, Greek island, or, like different island, but not like Greek island jumping. But, that seems like a lot of fun, but, oh well, I guess, I will have to wait until, COVID is over. By then, hopefully, I'm married to a really attractive woman who looks like someone in my background. And then we'll just do that together as a husband and wife. I've never been married and I don't have any children, so I guess that's something to look forward to, right? Um, yeah, and I don't know what God has in store for me, but I'm sure if it's meant to be by God, it will happen. Although they say good luck doesn't exist. Good luck is what you make it. You make your own luck. Yeah, let's see what happens. Yeah, today is go to an art museum day. One of the things I love is like going to the beach, with beautiful bikini-clad women everywhere. It's for me that's art. The greatest art in the world is going to like Spanish Riviera and seeing all these beautiful women. I mean, there's no art museum better than a beach with really, really beautiful women. Because they're creation of God, right? God is the artiste. God is the artiste. You know, Obviously, if you're married, you should only touch your wife and have sex with your wife. But you can always appreciate God's beautiful creation. There's no sin in appreciating the beauty of God's creation. So, yeah, just don't have sex with a woman, who's not your wife. You know what I'm saying? But, God created women uh, to be an aesthetic masterpiece everywhere around the world. You go to Korea, you see a lot of Korean beautiful women. You go to Brazil, you see a lot of Brazilian beautiful women. You go to China, there are a lot of beautiful Chinese beautiful women. You go to France, a lot of French beautiful women. You go to England, there are a lot of English beautiful women. Um, you know, um, you go to Lebanon, amazing, beautiful Arabic women. You know, um, yeah, I mean, God created women as a blessing unto the world, artistic masterpiece. Greatest blessing for men. you know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah, I mean, women are the greatest blessing for men. Let's face it, those who are happily married know exactly what that blessing means, right? Um, yeah. Um, yeah, so today is go to an art museum day. I love going to art museums. Um, and one of the museums that I went to, art museums that I went to, was in Thessaloniki, Greece. That's why I'm playing the Greek music in the background. So, as you know, I'm an expert of Jewish studies. I'm one of the leading experts of Jewish studies in the world. You can read my books on Jewish studies by going to Amazon.com and typing in my name, Heerak Christian Kim, and the list of books will come up. And among them, you will see Jewish studies books. So just type my name in Heerak Christian Kim on like, Barnes and Noble search box or Amazon.com search box. And then you will see all the books that I've written. I mean, I'm not just an academic. I write fiction. I write poetry. So you can also read my fictional books like short stories, plays, novels, you know, and you can read my poetry. Yeah, but you could definitely read my books on Jewish studies. So I went to Thessaloniki um, because I was invited to deliver a paper on Jewish studies there, and actually it was one of the European Association for Biblical Studies conference. It was several years ago, just like 2019 European Association for Biblical Studies (EABS). I'm a member. It's made up of all the professors who teach Old Testament and New Testament in European universities like Oxford University, Cambridge University, University of Paris in France, University of Berlin, University of Munich in Germany, University of Heidelberg in Germany, University of Geneva in Switzerland. Um, you know, um, and in Greece, you have like University of Athens, it's University of Thessaloniki. Um, so we had this European Association for Biblical Studies conference in Thessaloniki, and I went to deliver my paper on Jewish studies. As I said, I'm invited to speak on Jewish studies all over the world. I'm respected, my peers respect my research on Jewish studies. And so, I went to deliver my paper. And obviously, whenever I go to a conference, I try to make the best of it. And one of the things that I like to do is go to an art museum in the city and explore what they have to offer. So that's what I did when I went to, University of Thessaloniki to deliver my paper there. Thessaloniki is famous, for being a university town, and it has a very interesting history surrounding World War II. So they have a very interesting Jewish history museum in Thessaloniki. If you are interested in that, you should read up on it, you Google it, Thessaloniki, Jewish history, and you'll see the rich history of Thessaloniki um, during World War II. Um, so I went there and I got to appreciate all this art. In the left, next to the crucifix, you see the ceiling, Jesus there, that's art, right? A lot of the churches in Europe, churches are masterpieces, artistic masterpieces. Next to that, you have the faces, kind of reminding me of Games of Thrones, right? Doesn't that remind you of Game of Thrones? Next to that, you have the kind of like soldier outfits, like Roman soldier outfits, because Romans were everywhere, right, in the empire. So, yeah. Um, Next to that, you have a nice vase, like a Greek vase. Greeks are very famous for that. And next to that, you have a Greek Orthodox church. Um, so I went to a church, and that's actual church, where they have Greek Orthodox services. And my friend Eric Fries, who's a professor in Arabic studies, Middle Eastern studies at a community college in New York, um, he went to Dickinson College in Pennsylvania, got his graduate degree at NYU, New York University, got his PhD at St. Andrews University in Scotland. And we're buddy buddies at Hebrew University in Jerusalem. We had a lot of fun adventures together. And, you know, Eric Fries is, Jewish. His mother's Jewish, and his father's Presbyterian. Uh, he grew up in like Manhattan, or yeah, that area. Um, and he chose to become an Orthodox Christian because he said it's a blending of Judaism and Presbyterianism. I guess so. Whatever makes him happy. So he decided he was choosing between like becoming a Jewish because his mother's Jewish. His mother really wanted him to stay Jewish. His father's Presbyterian, and his father didn't care. Um, and he's like, he was deciding between these two. And then, in Israel, I guess he visited several, uh, Greek Orthodox churches. And that moved him the most. And he ended up marrying a Russian Orthodox Christian. So they go to like an Orthodox church together. So, Greek Orthodox, Russian Orthodox, they're like similar. Um, yeah, so more power to you, Eric. Hey, I know when you're watching this show, so I give a shout out to Eric Priest, my buddy from Hebrew University of Jerusalem. Yeah, I have a lot of buddies from Hebrew University of Jerusalem. Yeah, I was around Wallenberg Scholar there. Um, yeah, so I do Jewish studies, so I'm like tapped into all the world's experts of Jewish studies. I know them personally by their first name. Um, yeah, like world's top experts in France. You go to France, Germany. I can walk into any Jewish studies department in any university in the world, and I'm on first basis with the top scholars. Well, I go to these conferences, every year, when I have time. And what do you think we do? We socialize, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Well, in the last 24 hours, we had 640 deaths in the United States. Um, numbers are probably still flowing in. So we are now at 238,201 deaths. So that's quarter of a million Americans have died in 2020 alone, and mostly in the summer, basically, because our death, this show, COVID-19 Update by Heerak, started in April 2nd, but we only had like 7,000 deaths. Like few thousand deaths in April 2nd, and now we have this much. So from April 2nd to now, quarter million people died. Now we're headed toward the flu season. We are in the beginning of the flu season, so you can expect far more than 250,000 people to die. I'm predicting, I'm Heerak Christian Kim, candidate for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District for election in year 2022, 2 years from now. As you know, U.S. Congress election is every 2 years. Hey, what's up, Dunbar? Hey, Dunbar. I know you're watching this show. I know you're secretly a fan of Heerak Christian Kim's COVID-19 Update by Heerak. Yeah, you may not be able to admit it to your Democrat friends, but you know you're a fan. Dunbar is a nice guy. I met him. He's a nice guy. Yeah, but I'm better as a U.S. congressman. So, Don, I know you're a nice guy, but I will have to send you to your early retirement 2 years later. But enjoy your 2 years. Yes, I'm doing the top 5 in the United States today. Uh, Top 5. Number 1 is Texas. They have about a million COVID-19 cases, 997,675 cases, 2% death rate. But look, because more cases equals more deaths, you have 19,221 people in Texas will die. I'm predicting that like 3 million Americans will die by June 2021. And so now we're in November. So November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June. So 8 months later, we will have 3 million Americans die. So what will result in 3 million Americans dying is 60,000 people dying in every state. Look, Texas already has 20,000, right? Most of those deaths are from summer. And we have like 8 months left. You can easily see how Texas could go to over 60,000 deaths, right, by June 2021. I mean, I'm sure they're going to have hundreds of thousands or even a million deaths. Who knows, right? It's a long ways away. So 60,000 per state is not that hard to reach. You know, every Midwest state will have 60,000 deaths. Look at the cases. More cases, more deaths, right? California is number 2. 981,111 people have gotten COVID. A 2% death rate. They have 18,020. So, California is going to go over 100,000, right? Maybe even a million. We don't know. But these top 5 states, they're going to have hundreds of thousands of deaths, if not more, by June 2021. That's like it could be expected. This is a killer virus that's spreading like crazy. So you shouldn't be surprised if you live in Texas or California to have over 1 million deaths. I'm saying minimum 3 million, but up to 30 million Americans will die by June 2021. And I think most of you out there, 330 million Americans watching this show, agree with me that that is possible. You know, it doesn't matter what party you belong to, what social class you belong to, what your education level you are, whether you work in a blue class job or white class job, or you have no job, or you have like several part-time jobs. I'm sure you agree with me. It's possible for us to go to 3 million deaths by June and 30 million deaths. I mean, you can do the math, right? Florida is number three. So you have 847,821 cases, 2% death rate. You have 17,179. You can easily see Florida going to like a few 100,000 deaths or even over 1 million deaths by June 2021, right? I mean, we're heading to the flu season. We're not joking around here, right? Flu season, people get sick with flu. They get sick with common cold. They get sick with like RSV. They get sick with like strep throat. They get sick with mononucleosis. They get sick with a lot of winter season illnesses that can kill you. And then you're going to have COVID-19. So, I mean, we're going to have a lot of people dying. That's like guaranteed, unfortunately. Obviously, it'd be great if nobody dies, but, let's live in a reality. I don't believe in the liberal media that keeps lying to you and saying, like, everything's going to be okay. Everything's not going to be okay. Um, you know, uh, it's possible that you will lose your child to COVID-19 death. I think every nurse out there knows that they could die from COVID-19. Like every nurse in every state, every nurse in every city knows that they could die from COVID-19 in the next, 6 to 8 months by June. Um, if you're a nurse and you think you're not going to die, you're probably fooling yourself, right? I mean, you may not die, but you have a chance to die. You have a high risk of death. So you should take out a high life insurance policy. It's worth paying extra dollars because there's high chance you could die. You gotta prepare for potential death. And I'm saying like out of the 25 CNL Georgetown clinical nurse leaders who graduated, I'm saying that at least five will die. Like 20% of us will die by Christmas 2020. Because as you know, if you're watching the news, Virginia cases are spiking now, right? It's getting out of control. People are realizing it's getting out of control. So I, as a Heerak Christian Kim, candidate for U.S. Congress of Virginia's 8th District, I'm predicting that all the hospitals, 100% of the hospitals in Northern Virginia will be completely packed and overflowing by November, this month. Like by this month, there's going to be no place in the hospital, in any hospital in Northern Virginia. This is a COVID hotspot. So we're going to have a lot of people dying, tens of thousands of people minimum will die in the next 3 months in Northern Virginia. And I'm in Arlington, Virginia, which is a county next to Washington, D.C. So you can understand how a lot of nurses can die in this area, right? Because as hospitals fill up, emergency room nurses will be very vulnerable to COVID-19 cases and death, ICU nurses, but other units as well. But obviously, the most dangerous unit is emergency room and ICU, right? I mean, it's because emergency room nurses don't know who has COVID and who does not. They come in, anyone could have COVID, right? And they could get it from any one of them. So, yeah, it's a bad situation, right, for emergency room nurses and ICU nurses. Yeah, I mean, yeah, so, several CNL 2020 clinical nurse leader 2020 cohort from Georgetown University where I graduated with them in August 24, 2020. Some of them work in ICU, some of them work in emergency room. So they may get COVID and they may die. People who are overweight or have pre-existing conditions can get COVID and die as well. So there, it's not going to be a good situation. So I mean, I hope nobody dies, but we live in a reality, right? And as nurses, we know that COVID-19 can kill us, and we work knowing this risk, right? I mean, you'd be a fool to think that you're not going to die, or you you will definitely not die, right? If there's no guarantee in life, certainly if you're a nurse, there's a higher chance you will get COVID by June 2020 than not get COVID. You see what I'm saying? It's a higher chance. So I want to do a cheer for CNL 2020. CNL 2020 Georgetown, yay, we graduated in August 2020, yay. We may die from COVID-19, but we can write on our tombstone, we graduate from Georgetown, we die as Hoyas, yay. I mean, it's hard to cheer like dying, but you gotta, you gotta celebrate what you can in the midst of a global pandemic, right? I don't believe in the liberal media that keeps promising us, a vaccine that's going to cure us. Where's the vaccine? Never came out in October. Did not come out in November. No vaccine is going to work because COVID-19 is too complicated. It takes at least 10 years to develop a vaccine. With virus is complicated. HIV never developed a vaccine because it's complicated. Hepatitis C never developed a vaccine. So it's possible that we'll never have a vaccine for COVID-19. So don't put your trust in vaccines because you'll be disappointed, right? It's better to stay on your guard and try to not die by taking precautions that you can than count on a vaccine that's not going to exist. I don't believe in a liberal media that keeps lying to you and saying there's a vaccine that's in store. No, no. You know, um, until we have a vaccine that actually works by evidence, no, don't believe in a vaccine that's going to work, right? You need proof, scientific truth. We don't have it. Yeah, so New York is number 4, 532,180 cases, 6% death rate. It used to be like over 10%, but during the summer, you have death rate dropping, and that's why it's averaging out to 6%. Most of the deaths in New York are from April, 33,705. New York probably will have over 1 million die by June 2021. Governor Cuomo celebrates too early. Now the cases are beginning to spike. And New York is like really crowded. If you've been to New York City, you know what I mean. Yeah, I mean, easily 1 million deaths in New York. Illinois, it's like having 10,000 cases per day right now. So Illinois is going to have over 1 million deaths, by June. So yeah, minimum 3 million deaths, but closer to maybe 30 million deaths. Cities need to shut down. Chicago needs to shut down. New York needs to shut down. If you don't shut down, I mean, it's already out of control. Let's be honest here. 10,000 cases per day in Illinois. It's already out of control. During flu season, you could have 10% death rate or more, as we saw from New York. So 10,000 cases per day means 1,000 deaths per day just in the state of Illinois. So I'm predicting by December, we're going to have over 10,000 deaths per day in the United States, over 10,000. And I'm predicting we'll go to like 20,000 per day death to 30,000 per day death sometime in the flu season. You see how that, because you're just looking at your state, and we have 50 states here, Illinois has 10,000 cases, but there are other states that are headed to 10,000 cases, like state of Wisconsin, state of Ohio, state of Pennsylvania, state of New Jersey. They're all headed to 10,000 cases per day. So you can see how we can easily have 30,000 deaths per day sometime in the flu season. So that's coming. I don't believe the liberal media who reject scientific evidence, right? We have the data. We have to follow the data, right? That's the scientific research. I'm a researcher, so I follow the data. I follow numbers. I don't follow like hocus pocus. Yeah, we're gonna have vaccines someday. No. Can I get a 5 on not following hocus pocus? Witchcraft doesn't work with COVID-19. Come on, let's stick to the science. Let's stick to the numbers and the data, right? I mean, let's be honest here. I mean, 10,000 cases per day in Illinois, that's no joke. That is no joke. Um, Illinois has 498,560 cases. They have 10,563 deaths. And you know that's going to skyrocket too. You know that, right? Um, Today's theme is record-breaking spikes in Europe. It's not like we're alone in this. Misery wants company, right? The United States is not the only country where will have millions of deaths. We're going to have millions of deaths throughout Europe, right? Because data doesn't lie. Numbers do not lie. So first article, France, Italy, Russia hit record high number of coronavirus cases. That's from Voice of America. And it was like on November 6th, but it's relevant, right? Because it's like a few days ago. Um, so it's worse now, you know? Um, yeah, so first article's significant quote is France, Italy, and Russia, three countries, France, Italy, and Russia. And if you're Italian, and have relatives or ancestry in Italy, you should be concerned. If you're French and have ancestry in France, you should be concerned. If you're Russian American and have ancestry in Russia, you should be concerned and have relatives there. So France, Italy, Russia reported new daily records of coronavirus cases on cases Friday. So that's like this Friday, like this is Monday, right? Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So it's like working day to working day, Friday to Monday, right? A day after the United States set its third record-setting day of new cases this week. So, you know, it's happening, you know, in NATO nations. It's sad to say, NATO nations are screwed, you know? NATO nations are headed to massive death because it's not happening in Asia. You know, China hardly has any deaths, you know, any cases. But NATO nations, we are suffering. Um, yeah. So, yeah, France registered 60,486 new confirmed coronavirus cases on Friday after posting a record over 58,000 on Thursday. Health Ministry data show at the at 10% death rate. I mean, France had higher than 10% death rate in April. You're gonna have 6,000, over 6,000 dies in one day, right? Because the 60,486 is from one day. That's coming. We have 6 more months of flu season. So you know, it's gonna only get worse. It's only gonna get worse. Um, so to continue, the ministry also reported 828,000 new deaths. So you know, deaths are increasing. We're not talking about like, oh, there are a lot of cases, but nobody's going to die. That's a lie. I don't believe in the liberal media who says, oh, it's just about cases. It's not about death. No, more cases equal more death. Um, Italy announced Friday 37,809 new coronavirus infections over the past 24 hours, the country's highest ever, while Russia also recorded its highest daily tally of at 20,582. Yes, Europe will have millions of deaths. That's like no shadow of doubt there. I don't think any scientist in Europe is doubting that they're going to have millions of deaths. I'm estimating, I'm Heerak Christian Kim, candidate for U.S. Congress of Virginia's 8th District, running for 2022, 2 years from now. Office that Don Beyer currently holds. He won a few days ago. I congratulated him. There was a mix-up, you know. Yeah, watch my other shows to catch up on the mix-up. Yeah, I mean, if I were on the ballot, because of the mix-up, my name wasn't on the ballot. That's the problem, right? I'm an official candidate for U.S. Congress for 2020 and 2022, but my name didn't get on the ballot in Virginia because of all these mix-ups. You know, I accept God's will, but you know, just watch my previous episodes to see, well, you know, what happened. You can follow along in you know, past episodes. You know, you can follow along the events of all these mix-ups. You know, but anyway, yeah. So second article is Coronavirus Digest. French hospitals transfer critical COVID-19 hospitals to Germany. So that's in Deutsche Welle. And significant quote from that is hospitals in Germany are once again taking COVID-19 patients from France. French hospitals are beginning to overrun, especially in rural areas. And we have 6 more months of flu season left. Can you imagine what's going to happen? Harry, the owl is really worried. 6 more months. I mean, geez, already sending patients over to Germany, France. I mean, you know what's going to happen. France will easily have over 1 million deaths. It's tragic. It's sad what's going to happen. I'm predicting that there'll be 100 million people around the world dying. Because we don't just have America and Europe, right? We have like other continents. The continent of COVID-19 death, Latin America, I mean, geez, they may have the most death out of all the continents. But you see what I'm saying? So we'll easily have over 100 million deaths in the world. Um, yeah, I mean, you shouldn't doubt that because you're looking at the numbers of cases, more death, right? So let me continue reading there. Um, Patients in critical condition from the French border region of Rennes Est were transferred. 8 patients were transferred. So it's starting small, but I mean, it's overflowing. So trickle will become a stream will become a river will become a flooding. So 8 patients were transferred. French lawmakers Christophe Farren wrote on Twitter. Twitter is a good way to get the news out, right? I mean, it's like the new news network, right? Traditional news channels are like almost dead, right? Who follows traditional news? They follow Twitter, right? Um, Last week, a hospital in the Netherlands transferred some of its critically ill patients to Germany for treatment. So even Netherlands is having like overflow of patients. A total of 130 patients from French hospitals were transferred. So let's go to the third article. So hospitalization is going up. That's a very important point you have to keep in mind. Okay, it's not just the cases. Hospitalization is going up, and you know what's coming next? The deaths. So about 4, 5, 6 weeks from now, we're going to have death everywhere. Yeah, that's going to be the big news. Right now, it's the cases, and we're beginning to talk about hospitalization. 4, 5, 6 weeks later, we're going to be just talking about death because there will be so many of them. As I said, I'm expecting 10,000 nurses to die by Christmas 2020 in the United States alone. United States alone. I'm not even talking about nurses in Germany, nurses in France, nurses in Italy, nurses in Russia, nurses in England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. I'm just talking about nurses in America. 10,000. Maybe it could be 20, but I'm saying minimum 10,000 nurses will die in the United States alone from COVID-19 because COVID-19 has now mutated to kill 20-year-olds. In fact, they kill 20-year-old nurses. So, like, if you're a new graduate from nursing school, RN programs, BSN programs, community college, associate degree in nursing programs, if you're 20 years old, you can die of COVID, you know? Yeah, we're going to see that. You'll see. We're going to have a lot of news about 20-year-old nurses dying in the next few weeks. Yeah, I mean, COVID has mutated to infect and kill 20-year-olds. And the sad thing about that is COVID is giving blood clotting and strokes in 20-year-olds. So, I mean, that's a horrific way to die. You know what I'm saying? You could be paralyzed and then die slowly. Oh my God. So that it could be protracted death, like over months and months. Yeah, so 20-year-old nurses, yeah, it's not your year. It's really, really sad. Um, even before getting married, I mean, you may end up dead. And before you have your first child, it's sad. It's sad. But that's coming, because you have all these spikes. Where do you think they're going to end up? They're going to end up in a hospital. Who's going to treat the nurses, right? You see why? I'm predicting that at least 12 nurses will die in every hospital in Northern Virginia. Virginia Hospital Center will have minimum 12 nurses die by Christmas. By Christmas. Minimum 12 nurses will die in Fairfax Hospital by Christmas. Minimum 12 nurses will die in Alexandria Hospital by Christmas. Minimum 12 nurses will die in Georgetown Star Hospital by Christmas. Minimum 12 nurses will die in Children's National Hospital by Christmas. Minimum 12 nurses will die in George Washington University Hospital by Christmas. Minimum 12 nurses will die in Sibley Hospital by Christmas. Ducky is really sad. You see, she's smiling, but behind the smile, there's tears and sadness. Ducky. We love Christmas. We love Ducky. Um, but yeah, what can you do? This is COVID-19, right? I don't believe the liberal media that tries to lie. Media, liberal media is the opium of the masses, right? They lie to you and say everything is going to be okay. It is the opium of the masses, liberal media. That's what I say. Because, all these people are dying, and liberal media wants you to believe that there's going to be a vaccine that saves you, right? And you just believe the lie. Just believe the lie. Sad. Not everybody's stupid and believes the lie, because we have facts and figures here, right? Facts and figures. We don't have a vaccine that works, right? That's fact, right? And I'm a scientist. I follow facts, right? I don't follow fiction. Well, I write fiction because I'm a writer, but I'm talking about like science fiction. When we're dealing with COVID-19, I don't deal with science fiction. I deal with scientific facts. Um, the third article, top UK military commander Nick Carter fears COVID-19 could start Third World War. So military establishment, their focus is a little bit different from you and I, average Americans, I've never served in the military, but yeah. Yeah, so the significant quote from that is the coronavirus pandemic is creating a real risk. Real risk. I mean, interpret it the way you want, right? Of a third World War. The UK most senior military commander warned Sunday, so that's just like yesterday. Um, General Sir Nick Carter told Sky News that the economic devastation already sparked by the pandemic has sparked regional conflicts that too closely mirrored one that led to the previous two world wars. So there are already conflicts going on. I mean, you may not know, but military is keeping tabs on these conflicts. Yeah, yeah, we're headed to World War III. Geez, if it's not bad enough that 100 million people are going to die from COVID-19 by June 2021, we may have a nuclear warfare that kills billion people by June 2021. I mean, geez. Geez, can we get a break from can I give me 5 on the break? Give me 5 and break from all these massive deaths around the world. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but I mean, this expert, he's a military expert. I mean, he knows what he's talking about, right? He's willing to share with us, which is good because we don't want liberal media lying to us. We want expert opinions that tells us what's going on, right? You're not in the military, you don't know what's going on there. Even if you're in the military, you're not in the know, you're not gonna know, right? Military intelligence, they have like secret files and stuff, Yeah. So yeah, General Sir Nick Carter for Sky News that the economic devastation already sparked by the pandemic has sparked regional conflicts that too closely mirror ones that led to the previous two world wars. So there's a pattern, right? So social scientists look at the pattern and say what's going to happen in the future. I mean, I believe there's going to be a World War II, World War III, before 2022 when I run for U.S. Congress. I hope that there won't be a World War III so that I could run and win and enjoy my congressional power, not power, service for 2 years and then keep spending it and run for Senate, you know what I'm saying? But but unfortunately, I honestly believe that there's going to be World War III that starts before 2022. And that doesn't matter who's the president, President Trump, President Biden, it's irrelevant because environmental factors are being created that is pushing the conflict that is uncontrollable. You know what I'm saying? And you cannot control the economic factors because COVID-19 cannot be controlled. Yeah, so World War III is coming. Um, we just don't know when it will start. But I think I think military establishment knows it will start at some point, and they're getting ready for it. Um, and and you should be ready for it, right? Because if you don't prepare, we're gonna have another what? Pearl Harbor event, right? Some Japanese plane coming over and bombing our military bases on our soil. That's what we're gonna have if we're not prepared. So obviously we should prepare. We don't want another Pearl Harbor 2.0. Can I get a five on not getting Pearl Harbor 2.0? Yeah. So yeah, so yeah, so to continue reading the quote from the general, I think we are living at a moment in time where the world is a very uncertain and anxious place. Anxiety causes people to do all kinds of stuff, right? Uh, to act irrationally. That's why we have anxiety medications, right? To control anxiety. And we listen to music to control anxiety. We hike in the mountains, have hobbies. Those help with controlling anxiety, right? Because anxiety can make people do irrational things. But the problem is COVID-19 is real, and people see their family members dying, or relatives dying. So you can live in fictional world, right? You cannot live in denial. That causes greater anxiety. That's why I try to provide you with the truth. So you have reduced anxiety, right? Because when you base your decisions and analysis on facts, your anxiety goes down because you know what's going on, right? When people are trying to hide stuff from you, that's when your anxiety grows. You see what I'm saying? This is why I don't like the liberal media. They keep trying to hide stuff from you, right? And that's going to make you more anxious because you don't know what's going on somewhere, right? You want to know. You want to know what's going on. You want the truth. That's why this show is so important. This show gives you the truth that the liberal media is purposely hiding from you. You see what I'm saying? Um, so just to start with the quote again, I think we are living in a moment in time where the world's a very uncertain and anxious place. In the quote, he told the UK broadcaster, while also predicting armies of future would be manned in part by robots. I mean, that's rational, right? We have robotic technology with COVID-19. You can bet like Russia, China are developing robotic third generation or next generation robotic soldiers, right? I mean, it may be covert, but everybody's working on it. We're working on it too. United States, we have some like Area 54 or whatever. Is that Studio 54? It's some music, but Area whatever 54, 55, where they're trying to develop robotic soldiers, right? They've been working on that for like decades. Um, the truth is out there. Yeah. Yeah. So tune in tomorrow. I'll bring you more facts and figures and expert analyses that only Heerak Christian Kim can. The Leonardo da Vinci of 21st century, right? Yeah. So I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. So for now, I'll bid you adieu. See you tomorrow. Bye.